Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing episode on the Unleashing Potentials podcast. I'm your host, Bernadette, and joining me today is Brittni. How are you?
Hello, I am good. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. How do I pronounce your last name?
Cosgrove.
Oh, cool. That's exciting. Awesome. So, Brittni, where about are you tuning in from?
So I'm up in Washington State, a couple hours north of Seattle, just an
Oh,
hour south of Vancouver.
oh, nice. So, can you tell us what is your story and what do you do?
Absolutely. So now I am a personal coach. I'm in the transformational space.
Mhm.
This has not been, if you were to ask me 10 years ago where I thought I would be, this probably would have been one of the last options I thought. So growing up, I was always very career oriented, very motivated, very driven, but I struggled a lot internally and silently with severe anxiety and depression. And I just felt like I had to have this perfectionistic mask that I showed the world. And it just created a lot of, great external life, all the accolades, but I was just really struggling internally. Fast forward to around the time of COVID, a little bit before that, I just remember I had everything like on the checklist. I had the house, the relationship, the career, the finances, like everything was checked off. But
Mhm.
I just remember feeling so unfulfilled, so empty inside. And I just remember thinking, like, there has to be something more. There has to be something different. Like, this can't be
Mhm.
everything that there is.
Yeah.
And then when the pandemic hit and everything shut down, I always say that when the rest of the world hit pause, I was able to hit the pause button too. And through that, I really started just getting honest with myself, really asking questions like, what do I want? Where do I want to go? Why do I want what I want? How do I want it? And as I started exploring these like inner truths of mine, I realized just how burnt out I was, how unfulfilled I was with my trajectory. And it was that year that I actually opened my first online business. And I fell in love with entrepreneurship and the just self exploration that it comes with. And then a few months later, I found the coaching space. And when I did, it was like my soul came home to itself. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
this is what I'm meant to be. This is why I'm here. And I do not believe that career and purpose are connected for even most people, but I've known since I was little that it would be connected for me. And when I found coaching, that was exactly what my inner truth was like, oh, this is it. And it took some time because when I entered the coaching space, I had no previous experience with self development or coaching or anything like that. So I had a lot of just kind of prejudices against it, and I just didn't. I thought it was very fake, very woo woo, very highlight reel focused.
Yeah.
But getting to the depth of what it can be, it has just been the most transformational journey. It's been amazing.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Sounds like you found your purpose, which I think all of us have a purpose. Some have found it, some don't even know what it is, where it is. And yeah, congratulations on digging deep and diving into places that probably hurt or were painful to learn the truths about. So thank you for sharing. So within your work right now, how do you help people?
So I work with women on helping them step so fully into their power so that they can bring what's on their heart. Because I always say, like, what's on your heart, it's here for a reason. So I
Mhm.
help people bring that into this world in a way that feels really aligned, really authentic, and really nourishing from the inside out. And I help people get to the root of anything that holds them back, keeps them playing small, keeps them stuck. Because by going to the root, we can really help transform it so that it's not a block, it's more like a stepping stone on the way to where they want to go. So it's a
Mm.
very compassion based, self acceptance based way of kind of creating a natural way of being so
Yeah.
that as we're moving towards our goals, our dreams, whatever it is that's on our heart to be brought to this world, we're doing so in a way that we're just continuously meeting and expanding ourselves first so that as we expand, we can expand our impact.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. Let's talk a bit about the subconscious mind. I know that even the word sub, I tie it to below or somewhere dark. Um, is it really dark though, or is it because we fear what we may experience, or we may experience truths that we're not ready to hear?
Yeah, great question.
Mhm.
I'll offer that another way to look at sub is under. So instead of thinking of like, oh, it's this dark, scary place, our subconscious is what's underneath our awareness. So we have our conscious mind, which is what we're thinking, we're really aware of it. And then there's this unconscious part of us, this part that is operating from old systems. Most people don't realize, but our subconscious is primarily developed in childhood by the age of 7. And then as we go through really big life experiences, as we just take on the world, it's continuing to kind of map out our subconscious. And then we're operating from it without even realizing that we are. And so, exactly like you said, we don't always know what the story is. We don't always know what's going on. But
Mhm.
sometimes that can be really exciting because when you're doing all the things, you're taking the action, you've done the emotional components, you've done the mindset, and you're still not where you want to be, or you're still not seeing your results, or you just still know that there's something more, there's something further. It's like, okay, let's go underneath all of that. What's underneath the emotions? What's underneath the mindset? Because that's where the subconscious is. And sometimes it can be scary looking into the unknown, but it's also so liberating because when we find it, it's like once you see it, you can't unsee it. And the subconscious is really innocent. It's like a little kid. It doesn't it doesn't use logic in the way the conscious mind does. It doesn't, A plus B doesn't always equal C in the way that our conscious mind would believe. And so when we're working with the subconscious, like I said, it's so innocent, sometimes unproductive,
Yeah.
unstrategic. Like it's not, we want to upgrade our approach. But what I do is I help people when we're in the subconscious look at it through a new lens so they can see it like a child. Like it's, oh, it's so innocent, it's so prescient. It's just trying to protect me. It's just trying to help. And then from there, we can choose to upgrade the strategy or the approach or just that operating system, but in a way that's kind of healing the subconscious and helping it kind of mend itself rather than continuing to push or suppress it.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing. Talk to us a little bit more about self-sabotage and how does that show up for most people based on what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. This ties perfectly in with the subconscious. So, again, a lot of people don't realize that the subconscious is at play. So
Mm,
I'll give you a great client example.
mhm,
So there was someone that came to me because she wanted to create more sales in her business. She wanted to grow it. And really what that comes down to is wanting to make more money.
mm,
However, what we realized through some of the subconscious work was that when she was younger, when her mom got a promotion, her parents got divorced. So she had subconsciously paired making more money with her own relationship failing. And because of that, she doesn't want her relationship to fail. So her mind, the subconscious, was like, oh, well, in order to protect that relationship, I can't make more money. So she was unconsciously self sabotaging herself. And it's not the sabotage that we might see like in the movies or stories where it's like
mm,
really plotted out, but it's like procrastination as a way of self sabotaging. Thinking about action versus actually doing the action is a way of self sabotage. Even doing something where you doubt yourself. And so you're coming into a conversation in a really timid, unsure, self conscious way could be a form of self sabotage if the other option is to come into a conversation really empowered and in your ownership of who you are and what you want and what you're going for. So again, it's not bad, but these are not productive ways of being and operating. And so when we can really see, like, look, what we do is we find the pattern. So, how is the self sabotage actually playing out in your life? Like, what does that tangibly look like? And then from there, we can start unwiring it, getting to that root. Like, what is that root story the subconscious has created that's perpetuating this self sabotaging pattern? And
mm,
then from there, again, it's like once we shine the light on it, you can't unsee it. And then it takes the time and repetition and it's like a plant. Like we pour into creating that new system and creating that new habit,
mm,
so that over time the operating system updates from the old self-sabotaging way.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. And I guess we do sabotage unconsciously, if that makes sense. And
Mhm.
also consciously. Sometimes we're aware of it, sometimes we're not aware of it. And sometimes other people notice it when they try to mention anything about it. We see it as an attack instead of as growth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I
Mhm.
think sometimes when we, especially if it's something that's like really tied to our heart, it's like our own business, our own career, or our family, like something that we're super passionate about,
Yeah.
it's easy to get defensive around it.
Mhm.
And something that I like to offer people is without someone else telling us what's going on behind the scenes in their mind, we can never truly know how someone's feeling, what they're thinking, what's going on internally for them. And
Mhm.
so when we can just have that open, kind of neutral space,
Yeah.
then if someone shares their feedback, it's like this open space where like, okay, I'm receiving the feedback. I'm going
Mhm.
to take what resonates, take what makes sense, what feels aligned, but it becomes neutral so that those defenses don't kick up. Because at the end of the day, if you have something that you're super passionate about, it's true. We don't want other people's opinions and feelings to influence that or to derail us.
Mhm.
And there's power in feedback. And sometimes people just want to support us. And and then of course there's always like the conversation of time and place, and there's the way that they share feedback. There's a lot, it's very nuanced, but
Mhm.
what I've learned through my own experience is that hearing what other people have to say and their feedback is one of the it's very powerful,
Yeah.
and it can be really triggering. And if something triggers us, like that can be our work so that again we can find that way to be neutral and open without it derailing our own goals.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I love that you mentioned triggers because I've been doing different research on triggers because it's so complex, just like trauma is and guilt or grief. But triggers, I think our triggers are lessons and messages to us. How would you define triggers within the line of work that you do?
I really like how you just said it there, like their messages. Like it's almost like the trigger is feedback that
Yeah,
there's work to be done there.
yeah.
And then again, it's like we can kind of look at it through this neutral lens. Like, okay, this happened. This was
Mhm.
my reaction. Like it triggered me. I now have the choice. Do I want to work on it? Do I want to give myself space and not work on it? And it gets to be neutral. There's no right or wrong way to heal our triggers. There's no right or wrong way to face our traumas and our past and anything like that.
Yeah.
But it just comes down to being like, okay, this is your life. Like you get to be in the driver's seat. You get to be in charge of what you face, when you face it, how you face it.
Yeah.
And my personal belief is that when a trigger happens, it is an opportunity for us to lean into the edge. It's not comfortable. My first year in the coaching space, I cried more in that year than I did my entire life combined, I'm pretty sure. Like
Yeah.
this is not easy work. And I do want to also just put out like that little asterisk. Like I am not a therapist. I am not licensed. I do want to really make it clear that there's a time and place for therapy, and that is not what I do.
Mhm.
And there's a time and place for coaching, which is what I do. But
Mhm.
again, like around triggers, even someone that has gone through therapy and has processed their trauma, you can still be triggered without realizing you're going to be. That's kind of, that's the point of a trigger is you don't know it's going to come up. And then from there again, it's letting it just be feedback to yourself, like to your nervous system, to your inner world. Like, okay, there's still work to be done here. That's not a bad thing. It's just an
Yeah.
opportunity if you want to take it to lean in to the work that's there.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing. Let's talk a little bit about our purpose and pressure.
Mhm.
How would you describe it to someone who maybe have heard of those words, but they don't really understand the concept and how to apply them in their lives?
Yeah, great question. To me, purpose is really that overarching sense of fulfillment. And
Mm,
it's never going to be linked to one set idea for everyone because we are all here walking our own different paths, having our own different values, our own different cares and goals and dreams. And that's beautiful. Like it takes all kinds of kinds. That's what it's meant to be. And so from there, it's like our purpose is never going to be a set definition of what it should look like. But instead, it's like this deep, powerful sense of fulfillment where you just feel so alive in what you're doing, so on purpose, so aligned. Every cell of you is like, I'm pointing in this direction. This is what I want. This is where I'm going. And whether that's to be a really conscious and present mother or parent, whether that's to be the CEO of a company you founded, whether that's to start a nonprofit and change people's lives, like there is no one set purpose. Instead, it's like, what do you value?
Mm,
What is on your heart? If there were no limitations, if there was no one in your ear telling you what life can and cannot be, what life should or should not be,
mhm.
what would you do? What would you create? What would you bring to this world? And that's where we can find our purpose.
Yeah.
And by living in our purpose, we just feel so like I have this image of like you're putting the puzzle piece into that last one. Like it just fits, it
Mhm.
clicks, it makes sense. And
Yeah.
again, it's not like, oh, all of a sudden life's perfect and easy and everything's better because I found my purpose. But
Mhm.
it's more like you're just so alive with what you're building and creating in your life that every battle, every mountain you climb, every challenge that comes up, it's like,
Mm,
oh, this is just part of the journey. It doesn't take you away from your purpose, but instead there's like this fire that calls you forward through the challenges.
mm,
And then pressure is kind of this like heavy dampening effect because, and again, it doesn't have to be bad. A lot of times pressure comes from a really good intention of wanting to do great, of wanting to be in integrity, of wanting to make a difference, whether it's self-imposed or from family, friends, spouses, etc.
mhm.
But the pressure, it's like this weight that just is constantly pushing in, kind of like um, I don't really know much about this experience, but like I would imagine like the pressure a coal goes through to become a diamond. It's like that
Mm,
the pre-becoming a diamond, that's pressure. And we as humans are not designed like coal becoming diamonds. Like that pushing and intensity
mhm.
isn't always the best way to shine our lights and to become our vibrant selves. And so I think for me, like I struggled a lot with my inner critic. I have a very loud and fierce one who
Mm,
integrity is one of my core values, and that's what I have found. So what
mhm.
I offer to people who hear pressure, whether it's internally or externally, is like, let's get to the root of it. What is the deeper intention of this pressure? So if it's internal, like what is that deep motivator? Like I gave myself an example, it was to be in integrity. That part that was creating pressure was like, I just want to make sure the work I'm putting out there is of value, that's doing good, it's helping.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the flip side, if it's an external pressure, then you can kind of again like look at like what is going on behind the scenes. Like I'll share again on a personal side, like my family shows love through criticism because they want you to become the best that you can be. They want you to rise to your potential. So it's like when you can see the different intentions underneath the
Mm,
theme of pressure, it doesn't make it right or wrong. Like I do want to emphasize like there's a time and place for boundaries and like conversations and creating
yeah.
space so that you're not like catering to that pressure or being
Mhm.
in it unnecessarily. But it's like when you can see that the deeper intention is really just here in support, it kind of creates a little bit more space around the pressure. Like, okay, this is
Yeah.
why it's happening. What do I want to do from here? Do I want to have a conversation with this person? Do I want to put up boundaries? Do I want to talk to a professional and work through my own inner critic so that I'm not feeling the pressure myself? Like, it's kind of like the self-sabotage conversation. Like, once you see it, what do you want to do? What feels aligned to move through it? And
Mm,
there's lots of different options. Again, it's just about getting back in the driver's seat so that you are taking care of yourself. And let me tell you, like living a life from pressure versus outside of pressure, once you find that way to take that pressure off,
mhm.
life becomes so much more liberating and open and just it's it's
Mhm.
night and day difference. But again,
Yeah.
we don't know what we don't know until we know it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I think pressure is tied to expectation
Mhm.
or outcome because we want to do what we're expected of doing, if that makes sense. Maybe someone had parents that were very militant
Mhm.
and strict, and they feel that they have to stay that way because that's how they were brought up. It's a signature of part of who they are. But do you think that can change though? because that's something that would be very, very hard to break. It's like a vicious cycle. It's like stripping away part of the identity to say you can become this. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I am a firm believer that we can become and change into anyone that we want to.
Mm,
It's not easy and it's not linear, and there is no timeline. So those are like, it's a journey, and I might even venture out to say like it's a lifelong journey. But if that's something that you want, I absolutely believe that it's possible. And it comes down to rewiring the subconscious. Because exactly in that example, which is that's the perfect example where we
mm,
see something growing up, we're raised in a certain way, and then we're living out of that operating system as adults.
mm.
And it's like you said, like it's so tied into who we are. It's like we don't even realize we could be different. We don't even realize that they're like traits or patterns versus just who we are. And
Yeah.
so by coming back to the root of each person as an individual, it's like, what are your core values? What are those things that you care about so deeply? Like, what is your unique vision? How do you want your vision to look like? Like, not just the what, but the how. Like, okay, I want to run a 7-figure business. How do I want to run that business? I want to have a family. How do you
Mhm.
want to have a family?
Yeah.
And by kind of just slowly getting really clear on what that unique vision is,
Mhm.
while also rewiring the beliefs and patterns. Like, for example, if I'm not disciplined, it won't work out. Or if I show emotion, that's weakness. Like, whatever those stories are, it's like you start rewiring those and you start coming back to, okay, whose voice was that? Oh, that's my mom's voice. That's my dad's voice. That's my grandparents' voice. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's where I learned that story. That's where that belief came from. And
Mhm.
again, once you see it, it's like, okay, I can see that this story came from here.
Mhm.
Is that my truth? Can I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that that's true? Outside of the mind, where is the evidence? Could
Yeah.
I prove it in a court of law that this belief is true? And
Mhm.
then once we can see that, no, like it's just a belief, it's just a belief that someone had that we bought into, then from there we can be like, okay, actually, what is true for me is XYZ.
Mhm.
My truth is this. And then that's how we just slowly start kind of shedding that maybe like the mask or like the costume, and letting and helping people step into their real identity, like the truth of who you are.
Yeah.
Because that is like where the magic is. We're not here to be replicas of our lineage. We're here to be our unique, powerful, wonderful selves.
Mm, yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Do you also work with clients that have experienced trauma as well, or do
I
you
do,
connect it with
but
it?
it kind of depends on like how processed it is. Because like I said
Mm,
earlier, like I'm not a therapist, so I want to make
yeah.
sure that everyone's getting the support that they need. But if
Mhm.
someone, you know, at the end of the day, everyone has different layers of trauma and we all have different ways that we've processed it. So if someone has processed their trauma and worked with a trained specialist and is able to kind of talk about it, or have it in their awareness without going into a nervous system dysregulation, then
Yeah.
that's a perfect place for like it can come up in coaching and whatnot. And
Mhm.
if someone does have a trigger that comes up, I'm able to ground them and bring it back. But I don't specifically work around that trauma because I want to make sure that they are in the best hands possible and being really taken care of by someone that like specializes in that space.
Yeah.
But I work with a nonprofit that is really heavily involved in the trauma space, and it's important to me. So I have a lot of trauma training. I just want to really make sure like that everyone knows like there are lines so that again, it really just comes down to making sure each person gets the care that they truly need.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Are there any projects that you're working on?
Yeah. So right now I'm like looking out into 2026. I think the most exciting, there's a couple things I'm excited. The most exciting thing that I'm bringing out publicly right now is the launch of my group called Eudaimonia Embodied. So
Ooh.
eudaimonia is an ancient Greek philosophy around finding deep fulfillment by nourishing each area of life. And so I'm bringing together women from all walks of life, all backgrounds, all focuses, so that you're in a surrounded community of powerful women that are going after what's on their heart while doing exactly what we've talked about, rewiring the subconscious, fortifying the mindset, really just following that heart's path in a way that's so nourishing is just the word that comes to mind. It's like,
Mm. Yeah.
how can we make life feel easeful? Not easy, but easeful. How can we make the strategy easeful? How can we make everything feel so aligned that it feels exciting and good to continue taking the action, to continue being in movement? And then you're surrounded by this community of amazing women that are doing the same thing towards what's important to them. Because what I've found in my own experience is that, life can be really isolating. And if you're really ambitious, if you're a high achiever, or if you're just here to live life differently, if you have, that big heart and you just want to make a difference, you want to create that impact, it can be really lonesome and isolating.
Yeah.
And so seeing and being surrounded by other people that are doing the same thing but in their own way, it's
Yeah.
inspiring. It calls
Yeah.
you forward.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been in the works for the last few months, and we've done some like little testing here and whatnot. But the first public cohort launches in January.
Ooh, that's exciting. Look at you. You're already prepared to jump into 2026. That's awesome. That's really,
Yeah.
yeah, awesome. Is there anything else that we didn't get to talk about that you'd like to share?
I guess the only thing I really want to emphasize and like leave listeners with
Mhm.
is how important it is. Just notice like what's on your heart. Like if there's that nudge that says, okay, there's something more, or if there's that voice that says, one day I'll do this, someday I'll do that. Like, what are you waiting for? The world needs your magic. The world needs what is on your heart. So if
Mhm.
you have that feeling, if you know there's something more you want to do or create, if you know that there's an impact that you want to pour more into,
Yeah.
follow that calling, follow what's on your heart, and find support systems in life to keep you on that path because it is the best thing that you can do for yourself, for your lineage, and for
Mhm.
the world at large.
Mm. So beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Um, Two questions I have for you. The first one is, what is the meaning of life for you?
Oh, that's a good one. I think I would say like love and joy.
Mm.
With love and joy, life can look like literally anything from the highest highs to the lowest lows,
Mhm.
and you are still connected with yourself.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing. Where can people find you, connect with you, and work with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me on Instagram at brittni.cosgrove. Brittany's a little different. It's Brittni.Cosgrove. You can find me on my site at brittnicosgrove.com. And right now, I have something called the Transformation Table, which is powerful small group coaching that I offer throughout the week. It's free. If you have something on your heart and you're looking for support on like what's next, how do I get started? How do I take this to that next level? Come join us. Pull up a seat at the transformation table. It's powerful laser coaching to get you on to your next step. And anyone and everyone is welcome.
That's awesome. Well, Brittni, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thank you for everything that you're doing. It was an honor to be in your presence and to hear the impact that you're making.
Thank you so much for having me. This was just wonderful.
You're welcome.